Hey everybody, it's Maniac for Bricks. I know, pet peeve. what a what a wonderful title for the video. I'm gonna say right now, you don't have to watch the video. First of all, what I say in here is not going to be the end all be all. Everybody follow this thing. There are plenty of options out there. This may not be everyone's gripe. This may not be a problem for anyone personally or what they see from other people. It'll change person to person. I also want to say that the solutions I have in here, they're not the only solutions or the best solutions. They're ones thrown out there to get you thinking of new ways to solve a problem. I also want to say here, this is a listening video. I don't want to call it a podcast, although it might be the length of a podcast by the time I'm done with this, but it's really not going to have that many visuals in it. So if you want to find more visuals, check the link description below. I have more of what I talk about throughout the video as links in there, so you can see what I'm talking about. Unless you're a LEGO fan that already knows this stuff and can already picture it in your head, that's totally fine. Or if you have Google, you could open a separate tab. Bam! There it is. All good. All right. LEGO cosmetics. LEGO can be built in so many different ways with so many combinations of pieces and create different things. You could have all kinds of shapes, colors working together and make just about anything that's already existing or has existed, any piece of fiction or your own piece of fiction. The possibilities are, for cliche as it sounds, endless or practically endless. So the problem that we have to talk about for today has to do with when a LEGO set is planned, especially if it has like concept art or concept models. It's not what the LEGO set you see on store shelves is not going to be the same as when it started. It's not like, here's the thing I built. Good. Print, ship, money. That's not how it works. 9 times out of 10, and I've read this from many LEGO books and LEGO sources, 9 times out of 10, a minifigure, a model itself, the theme will change over time. Usually, LEGO development of a product will take a year or more. I don't know exactly how it applies for LEGO ideas, like from when it goes from the project idea into the concept phase that is actually voted like, hey, we can make this a LEGO set for realsies, and we're going to have this designer working on this and that and the other. And bam, LEGO idea said, buy it now. I don't know how that works. I don't know how much turnaround there is from after it reaches the 10,000 and gets as part of the quarterly results. You know, when they actually display, like, here are the sets that got 10,000 supporters or more. Even then, those concepts do not carry all the way into the final model. Some things do, but there'll always be something tweaked about it. Something, for whatever reason, is going to change. So what you see on the LEGO store shelves is pretty, thoroughly thought out, but maybe not thoroughly thought out enough. Some people, and this is totally fine, that they have a preference for something that if it's representing a license, it may not be authentic enough in a certain area, that it may need some tweaking. And I got news for you people. LEGO is a building medium. I know normally a set would call it a building toy. It's a building medium. You can use parts from the set or from other local sets or Bricklink. You have many outlets of finding pieces to tweak it to your desires. I think that basically sums up the entire video. I'm not saying every time a fan complains that something doesn't look right, it's invalid. Sure, if they spent a lot of time on it, they should have been able to fix that. They should have been able to come up with something new. LEGO set designers do have a whole bunch in their repertoire of building techniques, of parts available, what have you, to make something before it goes on the shelves. But they may not have all the resources. There may be cutbacks because of corporate itself. I don't know It may vary on every Lego set ever. There may be some things where it's like, hey, do you mind if we add in this play feature where a kid can press a button and it launches this giant bar-shaped element like a missile? That'd be kind of cool, right? I'm not saying every designer agrees with it. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying some things will have to be added in or moved around for the best that the company can put out. There may be, usually Lego themes have a budget. They have a parts budget, they have a price budget. And some new element may not exist, but it might be a difficult thing to make that element just for that occasion to make it a sellable set. That's why Lego Ideas mostly has the rule, from what I've seen 9 times out of 10, we will only work with the pieces that are currently available. Or, as I've seen in some cases like Steamboat Willie, when the set is coming out with something else, then we could make a new element. For example, Minnie Mouse with her little hat. The classic version of Minnie Mouse, that's both in the Disney Series 2 and the Steamboat Willie, came out at approximately the same time. They were going to make a Disney Series 2 and the Ideas set. So why not have the element that was already being made for Ideas, or the element that was already being made for Disney Series 2 work with the Ideas set? One or the other, I don't know which. But they're so close, it makes me believe, as a fan, somebody who doesn't work with Lego, someone who doesn't know the internal structure of it, that makes sense that they would be like, okay, we'll put it out there. We'll put it with this thing. I'm not saying it's the only example of it, but it's definitely the finest example I can think of. What other sets use the bonnet or whatever hat that Minnie wears? Maybe there's one out there. I don't know. But that's what I know it mostly from. So, mostly they'll work with parts that are available already. Because making new elements is expensive. That's an entirely new machine or a part of a machine that needs to be made to make the piece to work. You have the sculpting that goes behind it to make it a certain way. You have, designers to making sure that it's structurally intact. It'll actually attach to other pieces, that it'll fit within the parameters, that it'll actually hold itself together when attached, and it doesn't break apart just by the thin, how thin is it? Or what supports underneath are made, like the tubes and things like that. That's all important. I'm even looking at a tile right now that has a groove underneath it, so you can take it apart. That's also important. As a Lego piece, you need to be able to build other things with it, not just the one thing. 9 times out of 10. I think there are some cases like the stud shooters, or like the round rotating ones, that it's more difficult, but you can still get the pieces apart. That brings me into what I want to talk about for cosmetics. Some people complain about Lego sets too harshly. They'll take one element or one aspect of a Lego set because it doesn't look right and say it's not good. I've already seen, as of the release of the 501st Battle Pack images, within an hour or two of the set being launched and images spreading all over the internet, people were complaining about stud shooters. But then there are people who were praising it about the subject of stud shooters. Why? There are no stud shooters in the minifigure's hands, as has been common for a while as a blaster for a minifigure. Like you have a trooper, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, or is their own thing like a bounty hunter, and they have a little thing that shoots a stud out. It's a play feature. People actually get upset about this because they want a more authentic blaster. Even if it doesn't actually fire, just for the look of it, they want something better. That's not always going to be the case, and this could be definitely one of those compromises I was talking about before. Hey, we want to add something into the set to make this playable. Even though it wasn't in the original design, let's do this. And guess what? Again, because it's Lego, you can change that. And the parts are available out there that you can make this a separate thing. You don't have to stick with it only by what's in the box, only by what the instructions say. You have a box of pieces. even if it's a licensed box of pieces, even if it's a collector's box of pieces, an ultimate collector's box of pieces, everyone's the same. They're all Lego pieces. You can choose to build it. You can choose to build it your own way or a separate way, and you're all good. It's what you want. If you don't want it, don't buy it. Build your own thing. That's another thing that I also want to talk about, but I feel like it's his own tangent. I'm just going to squeeze it in here. You don't have to expect Lego to build it. Like, I've heard so many times, Lego Ideas is kind of a crux of this, but it definitely happens in a lot of cases where fans will want something in Lego, but don't build it themselves. And I totally understand everyone has different ways of building things, and Lego, if they do it, they'll do it right. They'll do it fantastic. What if they don't do it right? What if there's something else they do? What if a fan model looks better than the original? It happens. Some people like that. Brick Model Railroader is a good example of that, which I should probably include in the description now. Brick Model Railroader is a perfect example of like, hey, there's a really good looking Lego train, a Lego car for a train, the whole lineup that people can offer instructions and show how to build this thing using pieces. And it may look better than the Lego trains you see in City. Again, it's a preference thing. But when it comes to like a license, you can't be mad if Lego doesn't make it a certain way. You still have Lego pieces that can be used interchangeably at any time, at any most combinations. I say most because there are some where it's like, okay, my stress of pieces, blah, blah, blah. But you can fix it. You can make it your own thing. Mocks are all about that. If Lego made every single item, mocks wouldn't make sense. But mocks exist because it's a way that somebody wants to build it separate from what Lego has. It's a thing that Lego doesn't make fundamentally, whether they have a policy against it, or they just don't have the license, or it's just not in their interest of making it a certain way, whatever the case. People customize things all the time. They customize minifigures, they customize accessories, they customize the model itself. Modulars are a perfect example of that. Some people want more out of the modulars. Some people are satisfied with it as it is. But you can easily have something in a modular building expanded upon, especially because of the modular style where you have floors that can be separated and therefore duplicated to be bigger. If you want them to be taller, if you want them to be wider, you go ahead. There's plenty of Lego fans that do that to some extent. So they'll tweak things with even a professional looking set to their liking. And some people may follow suit with that, but it's not going to be every single person that's like, you should just completely make the set and change it, change everything about it. Maybe one thing's good enough. Maybe one thing will just work so that you can actually enjoy it for what it is, but it gives you the potential for more things if you want it. There are so many Lego sets that have facades to them. Just buy another set and build the other half. Oh, what if it has a door on it? You could tweak the pieces. Most times when people have a complaint about the cosmetics of a Lego set, they have Lego sets. They have Lego pieces. They're not the first one at the rodeo. Or even so, there's plenty of ways to access more pieces. You can still find them out there. Every lighthouse, or almost every lighthouse that Lego has been made with a slice through it. Halfway through, you only get this part because, and here's the other thing that's important about all this, the cosmetic changes are usually for play. They're usually with a play value to them. So that kids, the primary audience of the products, can actually use them. I want a lighthouse that I can play inside of, says 10-year-old, let's say Timmy. I don't know. There you go. All you got to do is turn the thing around. You got space in here to put the figures. You got a little window they can sit outside of. Whatever the case, Go for it. You could have a massive model every once in a while where it's a specific thing to it. For example, the Simpsons house. Gorgeous thing. It's one of my favorite Lego sets of all time. And it's something that I completely understand. Every once in a while, they'll make it a fully fleshed out model. You don't have the half of the Simpsons house. You have the entire Simpsons house. You have a furnished Simpsons house. It has walls that are structurally built intact. You have the floor carpeted in different rooms and staircases. Oh, that thing is gorgeous. But not every Lego set can be like that. For parts, for availability, for price, the magical word, for the budget price that a Lego designer would be given to actually design the thing in the first place, but also the price just to make it comfortable for people to buy it. D2C, direct to consumer, usually a higher end Lego set that has way more added to it, but also a lot of pieces to make that cost make sense. You have something like the Death Stars. They're always big models. They're always $500, $300 or more dollars in the United States because they're fully decked out. They're meant to be like a special piece. Not every Lego set can be like that. And if they were, the argument that people have already with, oh, Lego's too expensive, would be super inflated. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous that there's an $800 Millennium Falcon on the market, but it's a specialty Falcon. It's not every man's Falcon. It's, you know, if you want one as a toy for a kid, for his birthday party, you don't have to spend $800 for it. You could spend a little over 100 or 120 or whatever the last one costed. That's totally fine. No. Stud shooters. Bolts. The city play features with like lights, sounds, projectiles. You have the tile launchers, like the round tile launchers. Those are cosmetic things that people complain about, but they're complaining for the wrong reasons. It's not for them. It's for kids. And even if you still like it as the model itself, you can take it off of there and it 9 times out of 10, it won't change it. It won't change the model. I started this because of the 501st Battle Pack, where it didn't have it for the minifigures using stud shooters, but it had it for the AT unit. I don't remember what kind of AT it is. I'm just going to stick with that. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan out there. Don't crucify me. I'm just going to move on. That AT unit has a stud shooter on it. Ban it. Don't want to buy it. You don't have to buy it. You could buy the figures on their own if you want them. If that's the part of the set you want, they'll be available on the black market easily. You may be lucky and they'll be available in bricks and pieces. Doesn't happen with every minifigure, but parts go through sometimes. Look at Just Too Good. He finds very unique pieces in the bricks and pieces stuff. It's really cool. Some of them from licenses. I've seen the snake torso from The Simpsons appear in the Build a Minifigure section at Lego stores. That's cool. That's great. But you can take that off of there. And the speeder. I forgot the speeder also has stud launchers in the front of it. And you're still going to get a good value for the rest of the set. It's a $30 set with 4 figures that are clone troopers, 2 figures that are battle droids. Oh, I don't want the battle droids. They're dumb. There's so many of them. Is that really a complaint? There's 2 of them. That's easy to just put them on the side. For a play set, even if it's not a battle pack fundamentally, it's a play set. You have an opposition, combat in a box, as it's called, or conflict in a box. That's actually the term I've heard more often. You have something to fight against in the box itself. If you have no other Lego Star Wars set and you need something to play against each other, it's in there. It's available. It's canon available. You can always have just the core set itself. If you took the battle droids out of it, you can still have those clone troopers fight each other like a Civil War kind of thing if you wanted to. You don't have to, but it's when you bring imagination into the equation with any of the complaints, anything's possible. And it's very personal. So moving on from that, Anchor Dragon 114. Nice to see you here. I actually forgot to set this separately. I didn't know this was going live, but here we are. I accidentally made this a live video. So good to see you in the chat. Either way, if they want to change it, do it yourself. Absolutely. It's not going to be everyone's preference. It's not going to be everyone agrees with this thing or they don't agree with it. There are some people who want changes with certain sets. That's fine. You got the pieces, you got the ability, you got the building techniques. They're out there. You can make that change. Angry Dragon 114 also said, only don't like the price of the 3 buildings. I don't remember which buildings I was talking about at that point. Was it the modulars? Because some modulars do have off prices for them, but also consider that some of them are separate ways that they're built. Not everyone was designed the same way. One of the earliest ones, Market Street, was designed by fans. And if I remember correctly, each half of it was built from a different fan. I could be wrong about that, but so don't quote me on that. But feel free to fact check me. I may be wrong about that one. But every fan or every designer of a Lego creator set, every Lego creator set as a modular may be a different designer. That's what I'm trying to say here. So maybe there's something different. Oh, the 3-in-1 buildings. Like the creators, like the regular creator sets, not the modulars. Okay. Yeah, that's true. There is something to that. There are examples of Lego fans. As I said before, there are modulars that you could take and expand upon them. I believe there was the term was coined in our community, Christifying them, or something like that. Where Bricks for Chris was very well known in the community for taking a Lego modular set, buying multiple copies of it, or the parts equivalent to multiple copies of it, and expanding upon it, making it taller, making it wider. That method also carried into other people. And I'm not saying he's the first one, but he's definitely the one I've seen the most do that for a while. For Lego City Updates, he would always have a modular bank that's bigger than the original one. That's totally fine if he wants to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've seen Hoosier Bricks being the most recent example of that and expanding upon a Lego modular, which is really cool. Having what was it? The garage? The recent one that came out, not the bookstore, the one the year before, the corner garage got expanded to almost the size of 3 of them. And that works if you want to have multiple ways of setting up the cars being fixed or having a bunch of apartments above it in a certain style. That works. I see buildings around me that are huge apartment buildings with the same kind of flooring for dozens of floors, you know? That's fine to recreate that in Lego form. Not every one of them is going to be a specific size. And like I said, some of them are just going to be shrunken down for marketability, making it an appealing set to buy. But you can always buy extra to expand upon it. The extra poly bags. I didn't want to talk about that one, but yeah, that's a perfect example. I want more trees. I want more street lights. Bam. Here's a pack with a whole bunch of pieces. May not be the most, maybe not the most efficient way of getting them, but it's an option out there. Or you go to Bricklink and say, I want this type of street lamp. Buy all those from a certain seller. The options are out there. That's what I'm trying to get to. Lego Architecture had a Statue of Liberty that was kind of criticized. It's still a beautiful model. I still really like the look of the thing. But I agree with other people who have built it or also thought about it this way, that the face doesn't look that great. It, again, maybe it's not for everyone, but there are definitely people, and I'm in that camp as well, who think that the face on the Statue of Liberty looks too plain. It looks very flat, and it doesn't flow with the rest of the model as far as building techniques and structure, sculpting. That's the word I was looking for. I said it was a sculpture, right? So what did people do? On their own, with their own pieces, with pieces from the set. I think they actually used some extra pieces from the set or something. I've heard from one of the sources. One source, JK Brickworks, redesigned the face. So it has more of a brow, it has a nose, and it has a mouth area underneath it. So it looks more like a human face, and it meshes better with the model. That's his preference. He shared it online, and other people followed suit. They fixed it in their own way. I've seen another version of it. I didn't find the name of the person exactly, but I will try to link it down below. Another way of redesigning the face. It's the same problem, but a different solution. It's like math. You can come to a better solution than what you started with in a whole bunch of ways. There's no wrong. There may be wrong ways for it, or there may be less desirable ways for it, but there's no one definitive right way for it. You can try it a bunch of different times and get different results. Some works better than others. Pro con for, any particular reasons. These pieces are easier to find. This one fits better. This one doesn't hold together as well. It could happen. I like the Lego Ideas DeLorean Back to the Future set. And I said in my video about it the other day, I would have ranked it higher on there as a model if it was a better roof and door structure. Because with the minifigures in there, they don't seat properly. They always look like they're leaning back, and therefore really hard to actually look like they're driving the car or they're actually looking out the car. And the way that they're seated in there actually keeps the roof from connecting properly when they're both in there. So that pulls up the top of the roof, and the doors on the sides don't line up. It doesn't look great, but the rest of the model is still pretty good. I'd give it like a 95 out of 100 if I had a rating system. That's still really good for the whole set. And that's not even adding in the fact that you can change it pretty easily with a handful of pieces and a brick separator to Back to the Future 2 version, Back to the Future 3 version. I still really like this set. I said it in my video that I wished that they changed a few parts, added a few more plates, or changed around the clips or whatever to make that part work better, fitting the figures inside of the model. Maybe it wasn't entirely designed with that in mind. I mean, yeah, they do fit in there. They do connect in there. You can fit both Marty and Doc Brown in some way in there, but it may have not been the original, mindset for when the set was designed, when it was designed from the original set, whatever the case may be. Because on the box, they never show them being inside of the car for that long. Let me look on the side. Yeah, on the front of the box, they showed them just separately from the car. And even on the back of the box, when they show all three versions of the car, the figures aren't in frame. So whatever the case may be. But I'm an adult. I'm 25. I've been collecting Lego and playing with Lego for majority of my life. I have dozens of pieces available that aren't tied down to certain Lego sets. I can fix this on my own. And who knows, maybe somebody else has already fixed it and shared it online. Somebody else might have already gone through and said, hey, here's a way to solve it with a couple of pieces. Bing, bang, boom. Figures fit in there that looks really nice. It's not too abstract from the model that it was supposed to be. I could look after this video, actually, and try to see what options are out there. And if there isn't, I could try it myself, either way, and see what happens. I did that with a pirate roller coaster from a creator a couple of years ago. I thought it was cool as being a pull along kind of roller coaster. Fundamentally, it gives you just enough to be like, here's a complete roller coaster in a loop that you could keep running around. You have to just push it every time. Okay, maybe not everyone wants to do that. And I don't mind it too much myself as fundamentally a set. But it didn't take much for me to tweak it. At the time, I think it was around like $20 or something in parts that it took me to upgrade the thing and then add power functions, motor, and battery box to it to keep it on a constant loop. That it had a way of pulling the model, or pulling the car itself up the hill, and then enough force to push it along and come back around. I do need to tweak that design because some parts have been taken away from it. It wasn't the most structurally sound thing because it did fall apart at various points. Sometimes the chain would get caught up or the gears didn't always turn with it. So it needs work. It's not the end all be all design. But with that, I wasn't the first person to do that. And I'm not saying I'm the best person to do that. It blew up, sure, but it just happened. So did the other person that did it before me. They had a good idea, and I kind of worked with that. Where it's like, okay, I'm glad to see somebody else was working on motorizing this set, because we already had the expert roller coaster that was motorized, like easy to adapt to it. So why not try it for the small one? And I just tried it my own way, and then I could still try it my own way. I'm sure people after me have tried it a different way, maybe finding better structure to it than what I created, using better parts, using better colors. My parts and colors didn't always match the original set. They had orange in there, which really was only used for like the octopus looking thing. And the orange I added in there wasn't for that. Whatever. It's fine. So that's what I'm trying to get to, is that you don't always have to rely on Lego to make it the definitive 100% bulletproof model. Bulletproof, not the exact right word, but I'm thinking of, but you get the idea. Like, it's immaculate. It's there can be nothing else done to it. There's always something that can be done to it. Even the collectible Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars sets can use some tweaking. And it's easy to tweak because it's Lego. Other models from other brands, other franchises, other media can't be tweaked the same way as Lego. It's not the most customizable, but it's very customizable compared to other things. If you don't like a Metal Earth model that you put together painstakingly, all those little pieces in a certain way, you could probably change it. I haven't really done that myself. I haven't really seen examples of it, but because they're small sheets of metal, you probably could cut out another version of something and fit it into place where you think that the fix needs. I've seen action figures. Some people take action figures from the stores and they tweak it to their designs. They make a version that either wasn't released or a better authentic version from whatever franchise it's from, adding more paint, adding more sculpting, adding clay onto it, whatever the case, making new cloth. That's fine. If it's something that you like and you want to see it improve, make the improvements on your own. Yes, there is a merit to, I paid for this and I want it to be good, but I don't want to pay for this mediocre thing. But if you didn't like it that much, first of all, if it's on really one feature, like the stud shooters, I don't see that as a valid argument, or not a really helpful one. And second, if you don't want to buy it because of that, make it yourself. Lego is in a weird brand. It's a very unique brand, and other brands like it. Construction toys in general are in a unique brand where you take the time to assemble a model which could look appealing and authentic to a license, but you can also take everything from that and make it completely different. And you can even tweak the thing itself without destroying the fundamental nature of the model. Like I said with the Back to the Future, all I gotta do is add a couple plates onto it. I can still keep the rest of the thing just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Angry Dragon 114. He also says in here, I got the new Friends one for the birds. Friend did a bigger one if you saw that at Brick Fair. The Pirate Coaster, right? I think I saw that. I think I remember that. It was cool. I'm sorry I'm not reading these at the same time that they actually come up here. But yeah, that's fair. Lego makes a set that is going to be marketable, that is playable for kids 9 times out of 10, unless it marks itself as an Ultimate Collector's, the architecture, the ideas. But they're still going to make some shortcuts here and there. WALL-E and what's the other one? Ant-Man Final Battle are 2 examples where they actually went back into the studio, changed something, and then put it back out, re-releasing it to the public, saying, hey, we made a mistake on this. Let's fix this. Like, those are more fundamental. Those are more function-based things. Those are about the structure of the models themselves. Ant-Man Final Battle. There's something wrong with the wings or the legs. I don't remember exactly. I don't have a copy of the set to figure out personally. And second, the WALL-E set, where the neck didn't support, or the head wasn't supported well by the neck. It was about the joints in there. It was about the structure of the neck itself, because that's a lot of pieces for the head. It's a pretty bulky, solid thing. So that's why I'm like, yeah, sometimes when they find it necessary, they will make the corrections, or they'll send out the parts to people. They'll point out new instructions for it. They'll re-release the set with a new production number, or have some, I'm not going to say recall, because they've never really had a Lego building set as a recall, except for Duplo. But, and maybe some versions of Lego trains that had like a problem with the remote, but that's one piece. That's not the whole set. The whole rest of it could still work fine. Anywho, that's how that's going. Sega, welcome to the stream. Accidentally make this into a stream. And he says, demodded. I still have to fix Maniac for Bricks more when it comes to the mod settings. This is on Maniac for Bricks more, the extra channel, where I like to throw a little bit more than what I offer on Maniac for Bricks. Things like this. I like to try out new things. This is one of those new things. Statue of Liberty, as Angry Dragon 114 pointed out, like the tweaking different parts of it for the face. Recall a Lego set because it's broken. Well, yeah, if there were production pieces that were always falling apart, that's like a manufacturing problem. That does happen every so often with Lego sets, but they've never really made a product recall out of it. I don't know if it was like 100% of the time it breaks kind of scenario. It might have been very common, but I don't know. And it was also in different eras. They didn't always figure that out. I'm sure by now they've figured things out. Lime green joints in Bionicle is a famous example of that, where the joints themselves didn't always hold up, especially on each end of the ball joint, so they had a tendency to break. Even other pieces surrounding the lime green ball joints, they were minimized. They were made much smaller, cheaper, skinnier, and therefore, if you kept pushing against those pieces, they would break off. You'd have half of an attachment, and it's not good. But by now, if they still use those kinds of things, I'm sure they've fixed that criteria. They've fixed it. They've strengthened it. That's the word I'm looking for. Another famous example, Lego blue plates and Lego reddish brown or old brown plates. They happen in production. Lego doesn't produce every single Lego set 100% indestructible. There are pieces that will still come out in the wild that break, but they have ways of fixing that through their customer service, with replacements of parts, with broken parts. They notify that. They are aware of those things. They want people to alert them when there's a problem so they can make it the best thing for next time and correct the first problem. Hey, this set's missing a Lego piece. We'll send it out for you because it wasn't packaged properly. Hey, this set has a broken Lego piece. Uh-oh, something wrong with the mold. Something wrong with the filament. The parts that go into making it a plastic piece in that shape maybe wasn't enough. Let's send you a new one that has been corrected. These are available. These are problems that can be tweaked. These are problems that can be resolved. So that's what I'm here for. Haunted house pieces, oof. Yeah, exactly. So for those who don't know, Sega sent me the haunted house. He found it used at a great price. It did have pieces that were missing, and it had pieces that were broken. I still have to fix those, but the pieces are still out there. Even from another set, there's still reddish brown plates available, and not every reddish brown plate breaks. I'm looking at 3 sets in front of me right now that have reddish brown plates. When I put those together, they were fine. I want to actually find it. There is a statistic out there that I remember Lego published at one point about broken pieces that don't pass when during manufacturing. It's a very small percentage compared to other ones. I want to see if I can find that real quick. Maybe if I look up the word percent, that might help. But I remember seeing some, and it's honestly a good QC, a good quality control measure. It's like, okay, we will admit, not everything is indestructible. Not everything is going to be made the same way. Here we go. This isn't from the Lego site directly. This is from fi.edu. What does the FI stand for? Okay. This is from the Art of the Brick exhibit. It's a press kit, PDF from the Art of the Brick exhibit. For searching this online, if it's not already linked in the description below, I looked for on Google Lego statistic broken pieces percentage. Second link that shows up where it says people also ask how many Legos are defective. The Lego manufacturing process is so precise that only 18 out of 1 million Lego bricks produced are considered defective. There'll be some of the examples we said before about the lime green joints, the reddish brown plates, the off blue plates. More than 400 million people around the world have played with Lego bricks. 18 out of 1 million. You know what that breaks down to? A very small percentage as I type in the calculator. It's funny to me because it gave like an exponent of like 1.8 to the negative 15, negative fifth or something. Okay, less than 1%. 0.0018% of Lego pieces manufactured are defective. They can't be 100% clear, but that's some pretty darn good measure. Oh yeah, the haunted house is gorgeous. I hope I can find a good spot for it eventually. I'd love to do something with that and the hidden side stuff, and Monster Fighters, and maybe some Scooby-Doo. But only time will tell when that actually comes up. Lego will replace your reddish brown parts for free. Now, this is something I've actually talked about on the main channel as almost a podcast form. So, Angry Dragon, I'm glad you brought that up. Lego does have a replacement thing. I mentioned not too long ago. Hey, your parts break, your pieces are missing from the set, we'll send them out. You know? Sometimes they'll take in the quality control information about if you have it in the package, tell about the number that's on the outside of the package, you know? Usually the tape on the ends of a Lego set, where it has like the clear tape on the sides of it, there's a number. And sometimes they'll ask you for that number, or they'll ask you for something along that side, because that shows where and when it was manufactured. So maybe it's something with the plant. Some mass order of them might have an issue. And that will be inspected, and that will be corrected, so it doesn't happen with every single copy of the set. I've made the discussion on the main channel, which I think might actually be fun to bring over here. Just copy paste it, literally repost it on this channel. If we're going to continue this kind of Lego topic sort of thing, I don't know what to call this. It's not a podcast, but it is. If we're continuing this thing, I brought it up before. Replacing Lego parts is relatively easy for the customer. It's an easy thing to follow through. And if you wanted to, you could look up Lego sets that are already out in stores or have been discontinued, and they'll still give you an inventory of Lego sets with those parts and figuring out which ones to replace. I've actually tried this service before, where I got a set used from secondhand or so and tried to get the replacement parts. I never heard a response. Not a denial, not an acceptance, never got the parts, but I can understand why that would happen. An obsolete Lego set is no longer their responsibility. They are not producing it anymore. So why would they worry about something that is no longer available. Take a Lego set that came out. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a little grace period with that, where it's like, oh, maybe if we just discontinued it, maybe in a year, everything will be fine. All the copies will be taken care of in one way or another. But whatever. But if you're looking for a Lego set from 1982 and you have parts missing from it, even if it was sealed in the box, those parts may not be available. They might not be available in the same colors or elements. Lego isn't producing certain parts anymore. Even if they were, like a red 1x4 plate that was missing from a set from 1982. I don't know. I'm making this up right now. I don't know if they're going to honor that. I'm actually going to try this right now. And maybe, just maybe, I can get this on the screen so we can look this up. My argument is that Lego has a responsibility for something that's already produced, that's already available in stores, and fundamentally has a problem. But if they've already discontinued it, especially after a while, and if it's been second-handed obtained, like somebody's already bought the set, they've opened it, built it, maybe they didn't build it, but they've already used it, the pieces have already been out before, so it is technically used, it is not a sealed copy of it, and then someone else receives it from them. Is it really Lego's responsibility for the hand-me-down? It's a responsibility for maybe the first customer up to a point, but for the hand-me-down, not as much. It's like, well, that could have been a fault of the person who gave it to you. Maybe they were missing the pieces, when they gave it to you. Maybe they broke them, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to see if I can bring this up on screen. Hopefully this will work. So I'm going to go to share screen. I haven't done this option too often. And here we go. Now we got the Inception rolling in. I'm going to bring things over here to customer service. I hope we're seeing that on screen now. I'm just going back and forth between them just to make sure that actually did appear. But I think we got it. I saw it for like a brief moment. So, okay. I think we're good. So, I'm on bricks and pieces. Missing bricks. Okay. How old am I? I'm 25. I live in the United States. I got Lego pieces that are in my way. Where the mouse is. Okay. I'll work on that. Enter a 4 to 7 digit number to see all the bricks in the set. Actually interests me because I don't know if they even produce Lego products or sets anymore with 4 digits. I know a while ago they moved most Lego sets into the 5 digits, and 7 is usually for specialty products, like something exclusive to the Lego store, a gift with purchase, any number of things outside of what you find in most retailers. So I'm going to look for a set. Let's go back to 1982. I don't know why this number stuck in my head. Let's look for a Lego set from 1982 that has pieces that do exist, and maybe ones that don't. I don't think I can find a set that actually... Okay. So we have breakdown assistance. It has some that I can definitely tell are discontinued. You got the base plates themselves. You got the printed tiles. You've got the minifigs that could be questionable. You've got the panels on top of the cars. Those would be discontinued. The wheels would be discontinued. The flag would be discontinued. But still, a bunch of this could still work. Maybe the door and windows here. Maybe these windows. And these little fenders for the back of the truck. But there's still plenty of other pieces in here, bricks, plates, etc., that are valid. They still produce these to some degree. Even have ones in like gray. So let's try that set out. That's 1590. No results. Okay. I'm going to try another set from 1982. The glorious year I just randomly picked. Oh, imagine if I picked a Fabuland set. Actually, it'd be really funny if it picked up something like Rufus Rabbit, and it's like, oh yeah, we got bread. Yeah, we can send along the bread you're missing from a set from almost 30 years ago. Actually, 38, almost 40 years ago. Wow. Okay. All right. 3708. Let's try it. And no results. Okay. Let's try something more recent. I mean, if I was really going to play test this, um, maybe Townhouse would be a safer bet. Something much more structural. 6372. Nope. Still doesn't show me any pieces. I'm gonna move things up to 2005. It's more recent, but it's still not like the most recent. It's still like, okay, we'll still have these sets. We still have dang it, I picked parts. You want the sets. That's released in 2005. There we go. I'm gonna try to scroll down a little bit faster with this and pick something at random. And you mind like scrolling, please? There we go. Yeah, let's pick a creator set. Gear Grinders, 4883. Let's say I have this set. There we go. Well, even with those older sets, 1982 or so, we know that much. They don't have the parts available. They probably don't have an inventory for it, or they don't want to have the responsibility for parts that don't exist. Here's one that may not even exist right now in that color. That's why it has a triangle next to it. This part is out of stock. If you submit your request, we'll get in touch to let you know when it's expected back or to offer you a substitute. It doesn't mean they're going to make more of a part that doesn't exist anymore. If you have a Bionicle set, they're not going to just start production again to make one mask for one guy missing it from 15 years ago. This isn't a Bionicle set, but I'm just driving the point that, especially for a specific mold, a specific element that, has one purpose or next to one purpose. You can see in here, there's some that do exist. They still make them. And, a lot of common ones. Will they actually honor it? I don't know. Considering that it's an old set. Like I said, I've tried what I tried looking for it before with an old set that I got used. I never had to specify that it was a used set or if it was sealed. It never specified that I needed a quality control number because this was a Lego Western set. This was the Gold City Junction. It may have been too old for them to be like, hey, we need to fix this. It's like, well, at that point, it's not only discontinued, but it's probably already a hand-me-down. It's not something you're really going to find as much sealed. And even so, are we really going to be responsible for that? Are you going to put Lego responsible for even like the earliest of Lego pieces they made, like the automatic binding bricks that they don't make that way anymore? You know what I mean? Here's an example of another one: Trans Black toothpiece. They don't make that anymore. That is a color they do not have, and they probably won't. They probably won't have it where it's like that's why it's a little more uncertain about some of these pieces. It's kind of, it just puts it in a safer way where it's like, okay, we'll get back to you. Yes, we know it's from the set, but we'll get back to you if it's even going to be around. There's even Lego sets where the printed parts or the specific parts, like for licenses, may not be available. I was lucky to find one from Harry Potter, the Advent Calendar, where Harry, Ron, and Hermione were missing the entire packs of those figures, like with wands, with all their accessories. I couldn't get it through on the website, but I was able to get it through via phone number to call them, to describe the set, and I was able to get those pieces in the mail. Surprisingly, when I did it on the phone, they didn't ask me for a quality control number. I actually asked them, like, I have this available. Do you need it? And they're like, no, we're fine. We believe you. That's a set that they've had more recently that I found on clearance from Walmart and was missing stuff. It was tampered. It was, when I bought it, it was already partially opened. I've found that with Lego sets in stores over the past couple of years. Every so often, they get damaged. They get, dispersed. I found a Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar one time in a Toys R Us many years ago that was missing so many pieces. The whole top of it was popped open. All those little Advent Calendar sections were ripped open and figures and pieces taken out of it. I tried to do the honorable thing just to take it off the shelf. I didn't work there, but I still did the honorable thing to bring it up, ask them about it at the registers, and when they noticed that as well, they were like, "Yeah, we probably can't sell this because it's incomplete." Although that also can happen to the case where it's like, okay, well, if parts are missing from it, we could discount it, or we can't sell it at all. You know, like what happened with this one. So yeah. So that's why I'm like, well, I could probably get replacement parts on the Monster Fighters Haunted House, but then again, maybe I can't. Maybe it's in that window of several years back that it might not be available to me. Even if the parts are still produced, I don't know the likelihood that they would actually accept that. Even if it's showing up on the website and say, oh, these are the parts in the set. Let's see if we can get those for you. It's not always going to work. I've actually had one time with customer service. I bought an X-Pod, which is a Lego Creator set. It's very small. It fits inside of this little capsule. You can build on the capsule itself, and it creates a whole bunch of different models. It was the I don't even know if they called it the arachnoid one. Arachnopod. There it is. This is 2005. Oh, same year we were just looking at. I had the set. I bought it in the store. It was missing pieces to it, and they were pretty minor pieces, which admittedly I probably could have just gotten from my collection. But it's like, hey, I just bought this, so what gives? It's still nice if it's like, if it could be replaced, it, might as well be, because it was supposed to be in the set, but I couldn't find it in there. When I requested to get the parts again, they sent an entire new copy of the set. I don't know if that was a special case with the X-Pods where it's like, you can't really track the pieces individually, so why would we send out a package for just one or two pieces that were missing? And then just make it better off like, well, if we're already going to send it with this postage, might as well send the whole set. I don't know. I don't know what the case was, but I found it particularly interesting that in that time, in that example, that's why I say I own two of the set, because I had one received from customer service. I don't have the set complete right now. I mean, the parts are just all over the place, but I'm sure they're still in my collection. I didn't sell them off. I didn't let them go. I didn't, they're just somewhere else. Like a lot of Lego sets in my collection. Let's see. We were looking for the Haunted House. The Haunted House was released in 2012. That's 8 years ago. I don't know, but I could always try to get the parts from customer service. I don't know if that's going to guarantee that they'll send them to me. They may not. They could just easily not send them to me. I remember getting a Lego Coast Guard set in the store. Box damage. Had a part of it that was ripped out, and there was a boat missing, and maybe a few other pieces. I might have even done a video of it at some point. And I was able to get it through customer service, replacing the boat and whatever other parts. I even got the set on discount because it was damaged. So it was a win-win, but again, I don't want to abuse the privilege. I don't know how likely it's going to happen with every Lego set in existence in their catalog, if they can bring up the parts for it. And I don't want to take a chance with it, because I could easily see that being a method where people could claim to have parts missing and just getting stuff for free when they didn't. That's kind of why they have the way of verifying, where it's like, here's the quality control number, or here's the receipt, whatever the case might be. This was a bit of a stretch from what I was originally going for, and that was just about when fans complain about the cosmetics, the look, the design of a Lego set. Nothing wrong with the functions or the use of it, but just the way it looks. And being able to fix that easily by just changing the pieces, because fundamentally it's Lego. It's something you can already change pieces to. Early 90s, 80s Lego sets, probably 70s too. I don't remember exactly, but I wouldn't put it past them if it was 70s too. So many Lego sets for at least 20 years have encouraged that you can change the parts around. Even into the early 2000s, that was an option. That was sometimes given as a separate set of photos in the instructions on the back of the box. Yeah, you can build this cool Jeep, or you can build a helicopter. It doesn't have to just be the one model. Nowadays, yes, I think most people will lean towards a Lego set, not because of the interchangeability of it, but because of the joy of seeing it come together and making it look like the real deal. But that shouldn't stop you from seeing all the possibilities, all the potential of what you can use a Lego set for, and all the potential of just using Lego in general. Jamito B, welcome to the stream. Sorry I missed you earlier. Angry Dragon 114. Fabuland is the best. It is good. I don't have enough of it. I only have like 1 or 2 figures. I don't have a full set yet. Had the green one. I have a set I need a part that I need 2 of that. $25 each on Bricklink. Huh. Again, I don't know what part it is, but it makes me think that it's something not often produced. And I don't know again, you could always take the chance of going to Lego customer service to find out if the part is available. They could, the best thing they can do is say no. Or really the best thing they could do is fix it. But I mean, like, the worst thing they can do is say, nope, we don't manufacture that piece anymore. Nope, that set is retired and therefore not supported through customer service anymore. That's totally fine. Something like a product recall, I have been curious about for a while, because that's more like, that's kind of a bigger deal. It's like, okay, this is to the point where it could potentially hurt someone. Product recall in general. They've only done it twice, to my knowledge, with Lego. I mentioned it before about the Duplo Super Truck being one example, and the Power Functions remote being another example. You can't really tell by nowadays if the Power Functions remote on the surface is the recalled edition. It looks the same. But by function, you could probably tell if something's wrong. And in both of those examples, I bet they could do something, or at least talk you through it and like, here's how to solve it. Here's what you should best do to keep it safe. But I don't know how often that is still supported. It says, think it's only in one set and not available. It's from the 90s. Sales and Fly Marina. Let's see. Oops. Spelled it wrong. Sail and Fly Marina. Yep. Okay. That was just a typo there. No problem. Application window. There we go. Wait. We're going to wrap this up real soon, especially because I need to charge my laptop. I've been running this for quite a bit. Almost an hour. Oh, right over an hour. There we go. Sail and Fly Marina. Yeah. I feel like they might not be able to support it if the piece no longer exists. Because rarely do they put a piece back into production that used to be available. Bricklink would give you a good idea as to what Lego parts are available at what points, and finding it that way. I mean, at this point, they own Bricklink, so they might encourage that through customer service. Like we have a service that's partnered with Lego in order to find parts individually that maybe we don't have available, but are still out, available for pickup. Bricklink. It may not be the prettiest option, but it'll still solve the problem. Even if instead of getting the piece for free through customer service, you'd have to buy it from a secondhand user. I don't know if that would suggest that. I haven't tried it. I have no idea. But hopefully, that you get those pieces worked out. It's a beautiful set. I really love the look of this thing. I don't own it, but I think I've seen it once in person. At least once in person. Used goes for 99 value. That's not bad. Assuming that it was at the price of 99. But this is a wonderful thing. Anywho, that's all I got for today. I definitely carried this out further than I thought I was going to. I'm just going to close that. But thanks for sharing with me. Thanks for talking through and figuring this all out. At the end of the day, the point is cosmetics can be judged on a Lego set because you have pieces that you can use to build something, make it a certain way, and get some sort of shape out of it. Whether or not it's based on an existing model, whether or not it's inspired by something, you can still use pieces in various ways to make that look. If it doesn't match your standards, if it doesn't match what your vision of that is in Lego, you can always build another way. A set designer is like an advanced mock builder. He has a way of making something, a signature perhaps, to his designs, something introduced but may not be perfect, but it's still, out there. It's available. Somebody could look at the exosuit from Ideas and say, nah, that's not the exosuit. Peter Reed, the original designer of the Ideas set, had the exosuit. Like, that's a better model. That's up to them. And so it's totally a preference thing. It's totally an opinion-based thing. And I'm just saying that I'm not saying the opinion itself is wrong. I'm not saying you can't complain about this. But all I can say is that if you do complain about it, it hopefully doesn't take away from the entirety of the set. And you have ways, so many ways, to correct it for your preference. And maybe other people will agree with that. And maybe other people will find different ways of correcting it, and they could all be the right answer. I see this come up every so often, especially when it comes to specially molded pieces or certain play features. They are gimmicks. They are fundamentally there for kids and making it more marketable. A gimmick is fundamentally any feature added to a product that's not the product itself to make it more appealing and make it more interesting for someone to buy. A gimmick doesn't have to be a play feature, but it can be. That's just a specific kind. A gimmick can be the number of figures, the style of the figures, the authenticity of the model, the printed elements in a Lego set. Exosuit, again, as a good example, as a gimmick, it has green spacemen. Something that's not available in other Lego sets. It was only created for that idea set, making it more desirable. The Ghostbusters Ecto 1 has printed tiles and slopes for the Ecto 1 license plate, for the Ghostbusters logo, making the minifigures look like the actors. Gimmick. It can be all kinds of things. And I'm not saying that gimmicks are fundamentally a bad or good thing. They're just there. And if you don't like a gimmick, especially when it's a Lego set that you can build, you can take the gimmick off of it. I'm looking at two sets next to me right now with the Research Institute and the Gamers Market from Ninjago. Both of them have a black 4x4 modified plate with 4 studs, and the rest of it is tiled. One of them is printed, the other one is not. It can add a sticker. If I didn't like the chalkboard in the Research Institute, which is the first use of that black tile, I can replace it with the one from the Gamers Market, which is just a sales sign. And, don't have to apply the sticker for it. I could just make it a blank chalkboard if I wanted to. The options are out there. If you want them, you've got plenty of opportunities for them. Ask around the community and see if there's a solution to a problem that you may have of something that looks wrong or maybe doesn't play as well as you thought. I've done this with Jay's Stormjet, the 2012 version of it. When it first came out, I thought, personally, it was a problem that the wings didn't spread all the way apart when you press the button. There's a elastic band that's supposed to spring them back. All I did was double up the spring, and it fixed the problem. Sometimes it's really simple. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening. Mr. Hinkle Draws, this was just trying something new through Maniac for Bricks More. And I had some fun sharing and discussing. I don't know if I'm going to do another one of these, have another topic in mind, but I'll talk to you guys later with more LEGO videos. This is supposed to be on Maniac for Bricks More, where we have more experimental stuff going on behind the scenes, just extra than what I was planning for the main channel. So if you want, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell for more activities. They're not all LEGO oriented, but a majority of them currently are. There will be some more later about Hot Wheels, video games, and Nerf. And beyond that, we'll see. Could be goofs. Could be plenty of stuff. I don't have super huge plans for this channel of how regimented I want to make it. I want it to be very loose form compared to the main channel. I want the main channel to be consistent. I want this channel to be lackadaisical, for lack of a better word. So, have a good night, everyone. What the heck was that? Could be goofs. So, well, I've mentioned it before, and I do need to bring over more stuff that I've had previously of bloopers and, outtakes from videos. So, that'll happen. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Talk to you later.